What is soon to become the world's largest artificial reef is now on the Gulf Coast.
The SS United States arrived in Mobile today to be prepped at the Modern American Recycling Services, or MARS. The vessel spent the last 11 days being tugged from Philadelphia.
Now, from purchasing the ship to getting it to the Gulf, Okaloosa County officials say this process has been 2.5 years in the making.
Our Haley Samples is in Mobile. Haley, people flocked to the port to take a look at the ship.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. Sue, today marks the start of a new beginning for the SS United States, and I spoke with one woman who remembers the ship from its glory days. The SS United States, once the world's fastest ocean liner, now sits rusted and stripped of most of its parts.
She's a part of history, and even in this state, she's pretty awesome.
Lynn Coleman Widmeyer traveled with her family to Mobile from West Virginia for Mardi Gras festivities. Aside from parades and beads, she found a little piece of home.
I sailed from England to New York on the SS United States in 1968. My father was in the Air Force and assigned to Europe. He was reassigned to the United States, and the Air Force gave you a choice of going by air or by sea. And my mother said, well, we're going by sea.
Like Widmeyer and her family in 1968, that's how the ship made its way into the port of Mobile. Tugboats led the 990-foot ocean liner up the Mobile River Monday afternoon. It's the ship's temporary home as it gets prepped for the Gulf.
There's actually 120 fuel tanks on board that have varying levels of fuel still left in them, so all of that has to be removed and disposed of in an environmentally friendly way.
Alex Fogg is the project manager for the ship. He says workers will remove unsafe materials like wiring, plastics, and toxic paint from the vessel, a process he says will take about 12 months.
The reality was it was either to become an artificial reef or go to scrap. And becoming an artificial reef, we're also going to honor it with a land-based museum. So people will be able to visit it that aren't divers and see all the artifacts that have been collected over the years before they go dive it.
The entire project on land and in the sea cost $10.1 million. That's cheaper than the estimated hundreds of millions it would have cost to repair the ship. Fogg says once the ship is cleaned up, it will take about 1 day to tug it over to the Gulf for deployment.
There won't be any explosives used. There's been some speculation that explosives will be used to sink her. That's not authorized. So we're actually going to cut holes around the perimeter of the vessel to allow for controlled sinking.
The final destination for the ship is in Okaloosa County, where it will sink into the Gulf about 20 miles south of Destin. Now, Fogg tells me there are 3 permitted locations in the Gulf, but the final destination is still being discussed. Live in Mobile, I'm Haley Samples, WEAR News.
Now, as you just heard, part of the project includes a land museum based on the ship. Today we learned the 2 stacks of the SS United States will be removed to be included in that museum. As for the ship itself, divers, they say, will have to descend 55 to 60 feet to view the ship after it's sunk. They'll be able to explore the top decks and will have access to the ballroom.